the Japanese archipelago, 20 years in the future. Canine saturation has reached epidemic proportions. An outbreak of dog flu rips through the city of Megasaki. Mayor Kobayashi issues emergency orders, calling for a hasty quarantine. Trash Island becomes an exile colony. The Isle of Dogs.
Hi, welcome to Real Talk, a movie review segment from Lantern TV. I'm Wyatt Crosher. Joining me today is Michael Lee. Michael, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Like he said, my name is Michael Lee. I'm a third-year journalism student, and I would say probably 95% of the movies I've seen in the last 2 years have been on the airplane.
That's good. So you'd say you're a casual moviegoer at the best?
Yeah, at the best. If my favorite movie theater is the airplane, so.
All right, fair enough. So we saw Isle of Dogs. It's directed by Wes Anderson and stars a whole list of people. Bill Murray, Jeff Goldblum, Greta Gerwig, Frances McDormand, Yoko Ono.
Did you say Scarlett Johansson?
Scarlett Johansson, there's another one. There's basically hundreds of people. The movie's, it's an animated movie about a futuristic Japan where dogs have the flu and they're ruining society, so they just shove them all off to an island. And there's one kid named Atari Kobayashi who comes searching for his dog named Spots. And coming in, I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan, love Fantastic Mr. Fox, Grand Budapest Hotel. So I was really excited coming in. The premise and the trailer looked great. But what were your thoughts coming into the movie?
Yeah, like for me, I actually went home and searched to see if I've watched any Wes Anderson movies, and I realized I have not until this movie. So I really had like not zero expectations, but when I watched the trailer the first time, I was like, wow, the animation looked really cool. I know it's not for everyone necessarily, but for me, coming from someone who, like, my sister studies animation, I've watched a lot of animated movies growing up, and so like I thought it was going to be really cool, and for me, my first impression was, oh, the animation's going to carry it, but obviously going, I was like really impressed.
Yeah, the animation to start off of this talk is absolutely amazing. Some of the best animation. It's all stop motion, and it's just gorgeous. Like every single frame just looks like a piece of art. And the whole movie just sticks with that. The dogs look great. The people look really cool. There's a lot of fun things they do with the animation. There's some comedy with it. There's a lot of heart. And for me, it was one of the best animated movies I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, like even for me, I know it's a little bit hard to compare.
Yeah.
I was saying this yesterday a little bit like Disney Pixar, and kind of this, even though obviously the animation styles are completely different, but I, for some reason, just like the quirkiness of that stop motion and the difference between, like, there are some parts in the movie where you could clearly tell it was like stop motion, but then when, like, for example, this is not really a spoiler, but like when they're just walking, right?
Yeah.
There's like scenes where it zooms out and they're walking and it looks completely smooth.
Yeah.
Like it's not even stop motion. So I was extremely impressed by what they did.
And you haven't seen a Wes Anderson movie, but this type of animation, he's done it before with Fantastic Mr. Fox. It just works for his type of quirkiness and weirdness he brings to a movie, because it's kind of jolty sometimes. It isn't always the smoothest, even though there are a lot of scenes where it does work. But I think that choppiness still works to the benefit of the movie because it is so weird. And I know you haven't seen a Wes Anderson movie, but could you already just tell how weird of a director he was from just one movie?
Oh, for sure. I think literally just even watching the trailer, because once again, like, it's no spoiler, but the trailer really, I feel like, doesn't tell you at all what the movie's about.
No.
It mentions it a little bit, obviously, because there's like a narrator and whatnot in the trailer, but you'll watch the movie and then you'll go back to watch the trailer and you'll be like, wow, this is almost nothing compared to what the movie actually was. There's so much, like you said, there's so much weirdness and so much just mind-twisting kind of things that, like, you'll notice something and then you're like, oh, is that going to be like a hint for something is it foreshadowing another scene in the movie? And then you don't realize it. And yeah, it's one of those movies for sure. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I will definitely have to go watch it again.
Yeah, there's a lot of little hints of like little nods and stuff, and then also the comedy is something that it doesn't always hit you right away, but when it does, it works so well. It's a very, very funny movie. It's such a weird concept, but they make it work because of the humor and because of the emotion that they eventually bring in. But yeah, the comedy, like, it's hard to even describe it because it's so weird and so, like, sometimes awkward, but it always just works, and it got a laugh out of me really often.
Yeah, that's something, when I was, like, during the movie, I was just thinking, like, it kind of feels like it's a mix between, like, dark humor, but at the same time, then you think about it and you're like, wait, well, that actually wasn't that dark, but it was still hilarious. Like,
They trick you sometimes.
exactly. Like,
Yeah,
I can't. Yeah.
there's a scene where they really trick you with the dark humor that's great.
Yeah.
But even without the comedy, I thought a lot of the drama worked. I loved the character of Atari. I thought he was great for what he did. I loved his relationship with both Spots, and Bryan Cranston's character was also in this movie. He's the lead of the movie. And yeah, I just thought he did a lot of great things with his role. But really, Bryan Cranston, I thought, was probably my favorite character in the film. I don't know about you.
Oh, for sure. Like, I think, just real quick, Bryan Cranston, he played Chief, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, Chief definitely. He's one of the characters. He's definitely one of my favorite. Yeah, it's just there's a lot of character development that happens throughout the movie with that character. That if you guys watch it, you will just it's amazing. Like there's so much to talk about.
I'm going to struggle with naming who they all play, but Edward Norton's voice acting is very good. I liked him. I like Greta Gerwig's character. She plays like the foreign exchange student. Scarlett Johansson is Nutmeg. I really liked. Jeff Goldblum, Bill Murray, they're not in it as much, but they're great. Just basically the whole main cast of Dogs just killed it on the performances. And then I liked a lot of the human characters as well. They do something really interesting because a lot of the movie is in Japanese. They do something really cool with like subtitles and transcribing that I thought was really neat. And I had never seen that before.
Yeah, and for me, that's one of the things I actually really enjoyed about the movie was that the lack of subtitles. I think for me, who I watched a lot of kind of foreign either films or shows, and subtitles a lot of times for me, like it retracts from the experience. And I think the way that they did it with like you were saying, they had characters who played translators, who played interpreters. Honestly, they're very minimal subtitles. If like
Yeah, they're
at
usually
all
jokes,
actual-
if anything.
Yeah. If it was mostly translating text that was on
Yeah.
the what that was on the screen. But in terms of like speaking from Japanese to English, I would have to say like I'm sure the experience would be a lot better too, like so much better if you could actually understand what they were saying. But even without knowing necessarily what they were exactly saying at each point in time, it didn't take away from the film at all, in my opinion. And it was just overall very smooth the way they did it. So.
Yeah, it didn't take away from me at all. You got the gist of what they were saying from these transcribers or these translators all the time, so it was never an issue for me. I don't really have a lot of issues with this movie. I thought it was really solid throughout. If I were to say something, I would say it's not necessarily for everyone. It's Wes Anderson, so it's got a very certain style of humor. It's got a very certain style of like the symmetry in the shots. So it is a weird movie. It's not necessarily a big budget box office hit movie, but for me, I didn't have like any major issues. Maybe the end 10 minutes I wasn't a huge fan of. I don't know about you.
Yeah, the end 10 minutes kind of went pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's like it wraps it up in a nice little bow without spoiling. Like it's some people will like it, some people, I was kind of in the middle on it.
I know for me overall, I didn't have a huge issue with the movie. I know I went home after the movie kind of like, because I had heard there was some I guess racial controversy and whatnot in the movie. So I know some people that I've read, they've had issues with, it's a very common theme in a lot of Western movies that heavily feature Asian people. It's more of that kind of like Western figure comes in to save the kind of the Asian community. But that didn't necessarily feel like the case for me. I feel like there was a really good balance in that with who was the hero and who wasn't and stuff. And so I didn't personally have a problem with it, but I understand that. I understand where some people are coming from where they kind of don't like that, but yeah.
For a review on the college budget, I would say 100% worth full price admission. I would say it's one of the best movies of the year so far. It really just blew me away with everything. The animation's gorgeous. It's definitely worth seeing on a big screen just for the visuals. The comedy worked, the emotion worked, the characters were great. I would say it's definitely worth full price, if not more.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Like, if you had offered me obviously because we went for a free screen.
Yeah.
But if the ticket was like say a ticket at a theater is normally like $8, if you had offered me like $15 to go see the movie and I didn't know the original price was $8, I would be like, okay.
I'd go see it again for that. Yeah.
So I thought it was really good and definitely watch on college budget or even more. So.
That's a wrap on Real Talk this week. Michael, thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.